My name's Grace. I'm here live with energeticcity.ca with our community roundup. These are sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. I'm here today with Dawson Creek's Mayor Dale Bumstead to give a little bit of an update about the city of Dawson Creek and everything they've been up to over here in the South Peace. So, first of all, you guys have just finished one of the biggest events of the summer. How did the exhibition and the rodeo go?
Yeah, it was, honestly, it's a really, really big event for the city and the region. And 5 days of rodeo, world professional chuck wagons, the midway, the parade, the rodeo, the on and on and on. It's a very, very busy 5 days. Weather was outstanding, really, for the 5 days. And I think, honestly, by the looks of the grandstands and the crowds and the people, it looked like it was very, very successful. Mm-hmm. We just had a ton of fun. They added and introduced a new event this year. It was partially sponsored by the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, the Elite Indian Relay Races. And it was crazy how popular it was, how much excitement it added. And people are coming from all over the region to come and see these races. So yeah, it's just a very fun weekend. Parade this year was, I think they had 155 entries into the parade. So yeah, it was very successful. It was a great weekend.
Awesome. And I heard those grandstands were just fixed for the South Peace Rodeo?
Yeah, we always are, you're always doing improvements and you're always working away. And a few years ago, we redecked the grandstands, but we had to do a little more work this year. And that's just ongoing maintenance, ongoing work that has to be done to keep that infrastructure safe for public occupancy. So yeah, we did a little bit of work this year and ready for the fair.
For sure. And how does an event this size with this kind of tradition and history behind it, how does that affect the community?
Dawson Creek, we started a number of years ago. We hosted the World Under-17 Men's Hockey Challenge, co-hosted it with Fort St. John. And so we always hear about how the economy of the community is impacted by hosting these events. So that one year in 2017, we did 4 events, and we got tourism to do the economic impact analysis of those events on our community. We did the World Under-17 Hockey, we did the rodeo, we did the Mauser Cruisers show in July, and I think one of the hockey teams were having a provincial championships. So we did and completed the economic impact analysis on the event and sport tourism events that are placed in our community. And this rodeos, this event every year is probably about $3 to $5 million in direct economic benefit to our community. Hotels, restaurants, people coming in, spending money. It's a very big deal. And so we really taken an approach around that event and sport tourism with the Encana Event Center, hosting concerts, etc. So yeah, the rodeo, obviously hosting the 100th anniversary this year, it was a big deal, and it was over the top how good it was. And so that's why I think we really try to support it in every way we can. And we put some major support into the Dawson Creek and District Exhibition Association with a grant of $125,000 a year to help them maintain those facilities and grounds to be able to execute on the event.
For sure. And speaking of investments into the community like this, there's been some construction projects and things going on in Dawson Creek recently, and I'm wondering about the 8th Street Bridge and how the construction on that project is going.
Yeah, we've done a lot of work over the last probably 10 years on the flood mitigation work with the creek, and we've had some pretty significant events with flooding, and so we've been working away at trying to do some work to mitigate and minimize some of that risk of flooding. We worked and lobbied the province hard to replace the culverts at 8th Street with a bridge. They started the construction last year. It was intended to be a 2-year project. It's about $30 or $35 million project by the province. They built half the bridge last year and then intended to get it opened and then start the construction on the other half this year. They had a great summer last year with construction. They got way ahead in terms of schedule. They got the half the bridge completed last year and opened for traffic. That allowed them to tear out the old culverts, the old road bed, and so they're very much in a position now that we'll be able to have it open this year. And they're closed right now. They'll close the road down 8th Street for 5 days because they're at the stage now where they're going to connect the two halves of the bridge. and so they need to take, I think it's about 4 or 5 days, the 8th Street will be closed to traffic, so allow them to get the connection done, the concrete poured, allow it to cure, and then away they go, and they're in really good shape. We're so proud of Brocore Construction and how that project's moved ahead, and it's a big deal for our community to have that project completed. I refer to it as Site D, because every time we'd have a mess of a big rain event or freshet, the stuff would wash out of the creek, the debris, trees, etc., and it'd plug the culverts, and then all of a sudden we got a dam there and causing backup in the community and flooding. So yeah, we're really excited about having it completed and getting it in a manner now that will help reduce that flood mitigation for us.
For sure. And for anybody who's watching at home who doesn't frequent Dawson Creek, 8th Street runs right through the middle of the downtown. It connects the Starbucks and some of the big grocery stores with the rest of the downtown core. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the main connector for people coming from Alberta, going up the highway. They come through 8th Street along Alaska Avenue and then up to Highway 97 to Fort St. John, or Highway 97 south to Prince George. So 8th Street's a major connector in our community and for the region, and so it's really important for us to get it completed and open.
Yeah, for sure. Now, recently Dawson Creek saw the closure of Snow House. It's Snow House's temporary location, I should say. It's an overdose prevention center that works with people who use substances in the community. Can you walk us through a little bit of why the temporary closure happened, why the city shut down that location?
Yeah, so the Snow House was a harm reduction facility. They opened from 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock in the afternoon to provide those harm reduction supplies and services to at-risk populations and vulnerable folks and people who just needed a little bit of a hand or a support or a place to go. And so they ended up with a fire, and they had a facility down just off of 8th Street on 103rd Avenue. They ended up with an electrical fire and opened up a temporary facility right in the downtown, about a half a block from the Mile Zero post. They had a ton of feedback from business community and residents because it was creating some traffic in the downtown core that was really causing some grief to some of the business owners and some of the folks down there. And so we asked them, look, you cannot operate those services in such a high-profile location as the downtown core. And so now they found an alternate location while they're working away on the alternative location until they get the Snow House repaired and can get it back into operation.
Right, so they have an alternate location now that they're working on it?
Yeah, they do. I think they're, my understanding is that they've got an alternate location. I think some of the staff are away on vacation right now. And so but they are working away on getting the permit for occupancy in place, and they've got an alternate location to be able to do that services they provide until their permanent location is repaired.
Right. So it's a very location-oriented question. The city supports Snow House in their permanent location?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I was at the community opioid action team, met on a regular basis. I would attend their meetings regularly prior to COVID, and council have been very supportive of providing services and providing support. But you get that pushback from the business community where you got people passed out in their doorways and things like that, and it really made it tough for some of the business owners in the community because of that. And that's where we felt the pushback from local businesses and the people downtown to say, look, we're supportive of the services, you just can't provide it in a location that's such a high-profile location. Yeah.
So how does a council mitigate those tensions between a business community and a community that needs those supportive services?
It's about public safety and really that public safety message. So you want to make sure you're supportive and ensuring how and where those services are provided are available and accessible to the residents who require them. But at the same time, the residents and business community have to be supportive of those services, and it's a joint effort in terms of that information discussion that goes on in terms of how do folks see they're supporting those services, but in a location that's conducive and accessible to the residents. You don't build a plywood mill right in the center of town because it's not conducive to the entire community. And so it's those types of discussions that you have to have with your community in order to see the support of them move forward. Right?
For sure. And the location is also important for like the central location because it needs to be where people already are.
Right. Absolutely.
That's the piece, right? It's got to be accessible for the people who require the services. And so, yeah, that's the discussion that we went on, and certainly want to make sure that people are aware of that. Look, we're supportive. We with BC Housing, we built a 35-unit affordable housing facility for homeless in Dawson Creek, and we provided the land for them just off of downtown, just because we knew it was a need, right? You don't want people sleeping under your bridges or in your park. You want to be a community of caring, and so that was really the discussion that council had at our last meeting.
For sure. Thank you. And on the topic of healthcare, Dawson Creek is currently in the process of building a new hospital. I'm wondering, has construction officially begun?
Well, so the province has made the announcement probably about June, I think, about
A year ago that they were proceeding.
had received the capital approval by Treasury Board, by the province, to proceed with the construction of a new hospital. And so the process they go through with that is really, they do the business plan and say, okay, what services are we providing? How many beds, acute care? How many maternity beds? How many psychiatric care beds? So they define all of those services they're going to provide, how many operating rooms, etc. And then once they define that business case and the services they're providing, then they go out and put it into a design build process where they meet with people who have the capacity and ability to build a hospital, and then start to go through the process of that, designing it and tendering it for the pricing. So Northern Health and the province have been working their way through that. Now they've got a contractor in place. It's my expectation that
We've got the location decided on.
it's going to be built on the property of the Northern Lights College, just kitty corner from where the existing hospital is today. And so that's all very, very positive. And I expect we'll see a formal announcement of construction starting by later this year or early in 2023, with construction starting. I would assume they'll start in the springtime, just because we're probably not going to see them start to dig holes in the frost and stuff. But yeah, we're pretty excited about it. It's a really big, big deal for healthcare in a community. And, you know, all of that healthcare services, the primary care model of services where we go to our family doctor, they have to have the availability of strong acute care services to be able to refer their patients to. So having a modern new facility with modern equipment,
New facility is very important to be able to
build upon the provision of healthcare services in the region.
Absolutely. The most recent news from the province of BC said that construction could be expected to begin in 2022, but as we've heard from Mayor Bumstead here, it might be a little bit longer than that because we haven't heard it come up yet.
Yeah, no, I would hope that it'll be sooner, but you know, you just expect that we're near now the middle of August, and so by the time they get going, if it's hopeful, it would be good to see, but we haven't heard anything official. We as the city are working very closely with them because, you know, you got access to water and sewer and services and all infrastructure, all that stuff. So yeah, we're just ecstatic that they're building a new hospital and moving forward with it, and not only for Dawson Creek but the entire region. There are 2 acute care facilities for all of Northeast BC.
I shouldn't say that there's 3, but
Fort St. John, Dawson Creek, and Chetwynd, they are critical to having healthcare services for our region.
Absolutely. And on that topic of healthcare, again, we were talking earlier about the South Peace Health Services patient accommodations that you were speaking of.
Yeah, we started, you know, in 3 or 4, more than that, 5 or 6 years ago, the mayors of Tumbler Ridge, Chetwynd, Pooskoopi, Dawson, and the rural areas talked about how we could be supporting the delivery of healthcare services and the recruitment and retention of staff, and certainly at the regional district, we all do our part there by funding scholarships, and we provide funding to the North Peace Division of Family Practice for the resident program. But we formed the South Peace Health Services Society
as a way to be a little more innovative.
if we can be, and creative in terms of how we help Northern Health with the recruitment and retention of nursing and allied professionals, pharmacy, physiotherapies. And we stumbled upon the idea of this patient accommodation project. And so the society purchased a house. It was a clinic. Dr. Bolterice, the OBGYN, had a clinic down by the hospital. And so we purchased it, and we're now renovating it it'll be a 7-room patient accommodation for anybody in the region. Right? Somebody, pregnancy, expectant mom from Fort Nelson, they're going to deliver their baby, unfortunately, either in Fort St. John or Dawson Creek. And And it's frustrating for them. They can't deliver a baby at home, but when they do have to, now they got to come to Fort St. John or Dawson, and they're staying in a hotel room, and how expensive that is, and how
stressful. So we've started this
model of this patient accommodation house, like a Ronald McDonald House, for patients to be able to come and have a place to stay in a home that's much more affordable, and that we can provide that accommodation for them where it makes it a little bit easier for them as they're going through that acute care, healthcare journey. So surgery or maternity or oncology, the chemotherapy treatments. So it's that model that we really like, and we see it as a regional model that we can help for the entire region be able to provide healthcare services. And then the other piece of that, they built a carriage house on the property, and now we've got that in an agreement with Northern Health, and they're using that for agency nurses. So now the nurses, when they come to town, have a place to stay, and it's a nice place, and it's right by the hospital. So,
that's all. I think all of us are worried about healthcare today,
and it's a big topic, and you can't turn on the news without seeing it all across Canada, where people are emergency room closing or hospitals closing. So, yeah, we see it as a big initiative, and we're really proud of the work we were doing in that regard.
Absolutely. Those are some really exciting initiatives, and I'm really glad that I got to hear about them today.
Thank you.
To wrap up our conversation just this afternoon, I figured it'd be fitting to ask you how you feel as you wrap up your time as mayor of Dawson Creek, seeing as you've mentioned previously that you're not going to run again.
Yeah. So last year was a really tough year I think for all of us, right? COVID was really, really tough. And so last fall, it was the second wave of the closures and the public health orders and all that. And so then, through Christmas,
my bride and I, we had a lot of discussion about the future.
and do I run again and commit to another 4 years? It's a big commitment you make for 4 years when you're old. And so anyway, I reached the point where I thought if I'm wrestling with the decision as to whether I should run again or not, I'm probably not the right person to run. And in these roles, you go to the door, or they show you to the door. And so I've decided that in February I announced I'm not going to run again. And I'm going to miss it like crazy. I love the role of the mayor. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been 9 years, and made some great friends and great relationships and great contacts. And I really loved being the mayor, but your 9 years I've been in the role, and it's none of us should ever expect that we're here forever. And
so now I made the decision. I'm going to move
on, and I'm not sure what the next steps will be, but I'm working away at that. And my bride's made it pretty clear it's not going to be at home. She married me for love, not for lunch. I'm not allowed to stay home, and so I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited about moving forward. But I'm really with mixed emotions, because I'm going to miss being the mayor of Dawson Creek. It's been a real joy for me to be elected, and humbled by people in Dawson Creek putting their X beside my name saying, "We want you to be our mayor." It's pretty gratifying.
Absolutely. I could only imagine. And are there any final things you want to accomplish in these last few months?
Yeah, no, we're really working hard on the healthcare stuff. The stuff with the snow house and the safe injection site and all of that. That's a real worry, because
you got people, dying on the streets in our
province right now and across the country with these horrible opioid drugs that are so deadly, and that's a worry to me. But I'm also knowing I'm in this transition period where in another month and a half you have a new council elected, so I'm just doing my best to try to ensure we have a transition of some of those things that are really important to make sure they move forward in a way that there's no drop in the support to them.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for speaking with me this afternoon. It's been great to catch up with the city of Dawson Creek and with you in your last few months as mayor. The general municipal election for all municipalities in BC is coming up this October, so make sure you go out and get your vote out. This has been Grace Giesbrecht with energeticcity.ca, live from Dawson Creek for a community roundup, which are sponsored by Brad's Furniture and Appliances. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.